You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here is your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am Glenn the Geek in Ocala, Florida.
And I am Lisa Wysocki. I'm in Ashland City, Tennessee, and you're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Monday, August 17th, episode 4020 by WERM Flooring. Good morning, Horse World.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I am happy to report that we have not had a power outage in 3 days now.
Whee!
Yay, since Friday. And the power company called and apologized and basically said it was routine maintenance. Now our power went out about 16 times last week.
Of course, that's maintenance.
Caused all kinds of problems. That's the reason I had to put up Best Of show up on Friday.
Wow.
We had guests booked. I had to postpone them because we were still getting power outages, and I couldn't be guaranteed that we'd even be able to get the show done. So, but of course, power company doesn't want to take responsibility for that. Did you know
of course not.
that you can buy a surge protector for your entire house?
Did not know that.
Sold by the power company at $9 a month. They'll install it. So think about that. They're charging you to install a device that protects us from them.
I was just thinking that. It seems like kind of a racket to me.
Yeah, it does. It does. Definitely seems like a racket. It was bad, though. Some people in our neighborhood, because of the power going out and then it's surging when it comes back on, we were really worried about the air conditioner. And a couple of people lost their compressors and their air conditioners.
Oh, yeah.
People lost their TVs. We had 3 power supplies just pop, and they sound like a gun going off when they pop. The neighbor had a power supply attached to his wall, and his popped and sent burn marks up the wall.
I would totally have to then get an electrician out to inspect every single wire I had in the wall.
Well, it is made for electricity, but you're right. I mean, your outlets would pop, and probably your circuit breaker would pop before that happened. But I don't know. It was lucky there was no fire in the neighborhood. It was really lucky that didn't happen.
Wow.
But anyway, we're hoping, knock on wood, that we're going to keep going without power outages every 10 minutes for a week. It wasn't much fun. It was a trying week last week all the way around. Well, we're going to get an update today on eventing from the championships in Aachen with guest Michael Barnes. He was referred to me from our friend Samantha Clark, and he's an Aussie. I got this interview yesterday after he got back from the finals and eventing, and so we'll have that complete report for you in a couple minutes, and he's terrific. He was a lot of fun. We're definitely going to use him again. And also, Nancy Pfeiffer is going to join us. She was on in 2018, long time ago, and she had done a solo horseback journey across Patagonia, and she's coming back to give us some updates on that. Plus, we have other things we're going to talk about in the show and history and all that stuff. Well, as you all know, Jamie is still out. She'll be back on Wednesday. Lisa kindly filling in today. I can say now, because she did post it on her public page, that she's in Wales. She went over there to visit one of her friends, a fellow Monty Roberts instructor, and looks like she's having an absolutely fabulous time. She's doing all this cool stuff. She went to a soccer game. She went to a county fair. I mean, they just seem to be having a blast. She's been riding horses on the beach. I mean, she's just having a blast. So I'm sure we'll hear all about it on Wednesday when she gets back. And, of course, over on that side of the world, too, we have the World Equestrian Games going on, or the World Championships, and we'll be giving you the eventing update shortly. But dressage also finished, and we had Germany, Great Britain, and Denmark. That's how it ended up in the dressage. Great Britain, actually, is having a really good time at the World Equestrian Games. And Charlotte Fry from Great Britain won the individual Grand Prix gold with Glamourdale, her horse Glamourdale, and also won the freestyle gold.
Good for her.
With a 91.9.
Wow.
Which is really
that's impressive.
Dressage.
Yes, that's very impressive.
That's out of 100. And very seldom do you see over 90.
Yeah.
But so she won 2 golds over there. Great Britain, as I said, is having a really good show. So anyway, what's going on this week is we have paradressage, we have driving is going to be happening this week as well, and there's a couple other things that I don't even remember. But we'll keep you up to date on what's happening over there. I'm watching all the videos and pictures and all my friends who are over there. It looks like just a really cool place, and they're having a great time. So Aachen just looks really cool. We watched a bit of the cross country, and oh my God, there must have been 150,000 people there. It was packed.
I did see some pictures of that, and it looked really, really crowded.
Yeah, it did. Apparently Aachen's made for it, but wow, it was something else. So all right, let's do some daily Whinnies. We have no auditor birthdays today, so I thought I'd give my daily Whinnie to Ashley because she put up with all my crap last week. I whined a lot last week, and she is my boss, but she put up with the whining, and I appreciate that. You got to have somebody to whine to in weeks that are a little trying. So thank you, Ashley. Appreciate it.
So, Glenn, my daily Whinnie goes to the handymen who come help us out at Colby's Army every now and then, Rick and Steven. And so last week, somebody had pushed our washer up against the wall and cracked the fitting where the hose comes into the washing machine. So we had a flood. We had a flood all over the volunteer room. So I had turned the water off. So they come out, and then they have to drive, 45 minutes one way to get this fitting and then drive back. So they're gone for 2 hours. Well, in the meantime, it's 102 degrees. I don't have any water, and we have a horse with anhydrosis who needs to be hosed. So what do? This horse is he's breathing heavily, and his flanks and his nostrils are just flaring. So I go into the refrigerator, and we had some ice packs. So I went through all the ice packs. Those all melted. I'm calling Rick and Steven, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? They're still, 20, 25 minutes away. So the only thing left, Glenn, in the freezer is a frozen turkey. Frozen turkey. So I'm rubbing this frozen, of course it had a plastic cover, but I'm rubbing the frozen turkey all over the horse because that's the only thing I have to keep him cool.
Please tell me you have a video of this.
So anyway, the poor turkey, it's done, but it did keep our poor horse cool. And, the two guys came back, got our water going, and thank goodness, because it was just one of those days. The humidity was insane, and 102.
Isn't that every day now?
Yes. So yeah. So
Could you bring him down and stand him in the stream?
So that's what I was thinking. He was at that point, Glenn. He was breathing so heavily. I didn't know I could get him down there because it's it's a little bit of a hike. And then there's all the rocks. So there's 100 feet of rock. So then I'm thinking, this is my actual thought. I'm thinking, okay, if I bring him down there, he's going to get a stone bruise. At the very least, he's probably going to get an abscess. But then I'm thinking, well, if he's dead, it's not going to matter. That's where I was going with this. So
okay, everybody at home that's judging, we've all been there. You've all been there.
We have all been there, and but if they hadn't kept texting me, they knew I was panicked, and so they were saying, okay, we're 15 minutes away. We're 12 minutes away. If they hadn't been doing that, I probably would have gotten him down by the creek. But it's not an easy access. So
it's pretty, but you're right. I remember the hike down there.
Yeah. So anyway, I was so grateful to them for coming right out. And I hate that we had to turn the water off on such a hot day, but it all worked out just fine.
And, well, speaking of that, you posted in the auditor room, you had another horse with an injury, and I am going to so regret bringing this up.
Well, you are going to regret this, Glenn, but this is the same horse.
Oh, no.
This is the same horse. So
okay,
Tuesday,
now I know how you were thinking.
So, and I am going to gross you out, but fair warning, I'll try to be gentle. I really will. Tuesday, I left. I had to go to a meeting at 10:30. And at 11:30, we had our former program director, who is a path instructor and really knowledgeable about horses. She comes up. I leave at 10:30. The horses are fine. At 11:30, this same horse, Lex, who is one of our draft crosses, has a hole just to the right of his butt cheek. Glenn, it is like 2.5 inches across. It's a hole in his butt,
like deep
in his butt cheek, like a hole. And so she's like,
was there anything in the hole?
There's nothing in the hole.
Oh.
Nothing in the hole. But it was like he impaled himself on something. Of course, we can't find anything that would be suitable. So
if you can't find it, how did the horse find it?
Exactly. I mean, how did it happen? And so, we called the vet, of course. And I mean, you can stick like your index finger up this hole for, I don't know, ages. So it's gone in like 4 inches.
Not another horse couldn't have done it.
No, I don't think, And so he's
armed now. Your horse is armed. It is Tennessee. They could be.
It is Tennessee,
One of them could have a shank out there in the.
I don't know what they did. I don't know what he did. And so, Glenn, now 3 times a day I'm gloving up and I have to stick my fingers up this hole with some medicine, and we're using, all kinds of antibiotic stuff, and then the Maluka honey and all of that. And then we have to stuff it with sterile strips soaked in medicine and leave the strip hanging out, which one of the other horses keeps biting the strip and pulling it out.
You can only laugh, right? I mean,
Glenn, between hosing horses and treating this horse and trying to keep the water on, it's like you and the electricity. It's just been a nightmare.
Had a week.
Yes. So
sorry to hear that. And I would just sell the horse or something, because I couldn't stick my finger in there. If Jennifer was not around, I would not have horses. I would. Yeah, people have asked me that before, and I said no. The horses go. I wouldn't do horses by myself. I know what I don't know, right?
Well, there's that.
And I know what I'm capable of, and it ain't that.
Yeah. We are so fortunate. We have a retired physician who is one of our volunteers, and she's been coming out every other day to kind of help with all of this. So that's been really good. And she's not a vet, and she doesn't claim to be treating him, but she can tell me, oh, this is starting to look infected, or this looks good, or, whatever,
Is this going to be in your next book now?
I think I'd have to write like a horror story. I write cozy mysteries.
Maybe that's your next one,
Yeah, it could be.
That's one genre you haven't done.
I have not done that, so might be in the future.
Speaking of books and movies, did I see you got a rough draft?
We did. And so the producers and I spent the whole weekend going through, second by second. It's running a little bit long, so we have to cut and we have to make sure the editor didn't make any mistakes. And he only made one that I could find. There was a character who was drinking out of a glass, and she was talking while her mouth was on the glass. Okay. So, she's kind of talented right there.
She's a ventriloquist.
Yeah. So I saw your very determined face. Yet? Not yet.
Okay, maybe.
No,
soon.
Nobody's gotten cut. No, a couple of police officers have gotten cut, but other than that. So
I'm happy with? Obviously it's not finished.
Yeah.
But are you happy with the rough draft?
I am. And so the rough means, there's no music in there. The colorization isn't equaled out. The sound isn't equaled, so you kind of have to look past all of that.
Yeah. And
but you can see
this big difference, doesn't it?
Oh, it really does. It really does. Yeah.
It must be weird watching it without music, because you're actually watching a movie and you're expecting music.
You are. And Glenn, you're just going to die. I had to stop. I was traumatized, seriously traumatized. So they have an editor who we've had numerous discussions with. And he is so
Did he put fake Whinnies in?
Oh my gosh. He didn't, but his assistant did.
Oh God. Did you tell him?
Glenn, over 80.
What? Oh, do you know how many horse people would not see this movie?
I was so traumatized. I had to stop. I wanted to throw up. Seriously. It was awful.
Let me guess, their mouths weren't moving. And
no. And oh my gosh. And so I was trying to be so gentle with my words while I was so traumatized, because seriously, he's so experienced. He's done Back to the Future and Little Man Tate and Legally Blonde and like 80 of these major A-list feature films, and we're so lucky to have him. And I here am I, this nobody, saying, take those horse Whinnies out, and he's, I said, is this, do I need to mark every single one that needs to come out, or is it all on one track? Can we just, leave it? Can we just take it out? And he's like, oh, it's all on one track. We can just remove it. And I'm like, okay.
Thank
Okay.
God.
Oh,
Why do they think that's a necessity?
I don't know. And then
every time you see a dog, are they barking? No.
So that's the other thing. So I explained to him and to his assistant, I said, horses are prey animals. And so camels and rabbits and deer are also prey animals. And how much noise do you hear them make? And they're like, oh, they're quiet. I said, horses are quiet. Unless they're traumatized. They're quiet.
Waiting for dinner when we go out.
Or waiting for dinner. Yeah. Yeah. So then there's a scene. So Hank, the dog, is in the house, and Kat goes out of the house, and you hear a dog barking. Well, okay. Hank is in the house, so he's not going to be outside barking. And Hank is a basset, so he's not really going to bark.
Well, he has a
it's not going to sound
bark.
like
Bassets have special barks.
They do. And so, but this dog that's barking that they stuck in sounds like I don't know, a German Shepherd or a Doberman Pinscher. And I'm like, okay, that's got to go. So it's been an emotional weekend.
On this.
Me too. I'm like just traumatized.
You can put in the poster when it comes out for the movie. You can put Whinnie free.
Ooh, that's a great idea. Whinnie free. I love that.
The guaranteed horse people will watch it then.
Yes. Whinnie free. There were a couple of whinnies that happened naturally during filming.
Different.
It is. And you can see the horse's nostrils and the mouth.
You can see they're actually whinnying.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, I need to go to Wales with Jamie and just chill.
We all do. We all needed to go last week to Wales with Jamie.
Yes.
Hey, one other thing about ponies. The vet came out to do Coggins tests and stuff the other day, and Jennifer said, you know what? Let's do a Cushing's test on Scooter, even though he actually looks better this year than he has weight-wise in a lot of years.
Yeah.
But we've been dealing with this skin issue he has, and that's gotten a lot better actually right now. And sure enough, he has Cushing's. He tested positive for Cushing's. So
I'm so sorry.
So Pergolide, here we come. Well, at least it's treatable, right? I mean, it is. It is. Give the drug treatable. And I don't know that there's anything different we could have done. We barely give him any food. So,
well, this is so bizarre because, I'm working on the 6th Cat Enright book, and Scooter is a big part of this book.
What? Scooter's in the book? I'm not going to tell him that. He'll get a huge head.
No, don't tell him. He'll just get all,
He's already got a big head.
He'll get insufferable. But no,
is he
Scooter
my horse in the book?
He is not.
Oh, okay.
He is not. He is Bubba's pony from when Bubba was little.
Oh my God, that's even better.
Yeah, but in the book, this is so bizarre, and I'm so sorry. In the book, Scooter has Cushing's.
No, this is your fault. You manifested this, Jennifer. Lisa caused the Cushing's. It's all her fault. I'm going to send you the bill for the Pergolide then.
No. This was written a long time ago.
Really? You did write that?
I had to have a reason to have him dry lotted, and that just came up.
Okay, that's bizarre. I got goosebumps now.
This is so weird. And I truly am sorry he has it in real life.
Well, he just wants to know, does he get to play himself? And when you finally get to the sixth movie?
Oh yeah, we'll do that.
It'll be about 110 then, but
he will.
All right, let's go to worm flooring. I need your address too, because I have to have the vet send you the bill. So we're going to hear from worm flooring, and then we're going to go to our guest with his report live from Aachen. Worm flooring now does your trailer roof. Leaky roofs are a common problem in horse trailers and RVs. Worm flooring's revolutionary silicone-based coating creates a barrier against the heat and wet. First, it seals your roof to stop leaks before they start. Second, it reflects back nearly 90% of those nasty UV rays, keeping your trailer or barn up to 60 degrees cooler on a blistering day. So ditch the duct tape and buckets. Invest in a long-lasting peace of mind with Seal and Chill. It's applied by pros for a flawless finish and is only $7.50 cents per square foot. That's a steal for a cooler, drier, happier trailer or RV, which means happier horses and happier people. Head over to wormflooring.com now to find a dealer near you. That's WERM flooring.com. So it's so exciting to be catching some of the clips from Aachen and the World Equestrian Games over in Germany. And I asked Samantha, my old co-host on the World Equestrian Games shows that we did twice for the ones here in America, and she wasn't going this year, but she referred me to Michael. Michael's from Australia, and apparently, Michael, you've been to a lot of eventing competitions around the world.
Reasonable number, yeah, in the last 15 years or so. My first WEG, as it then was, World Equestrian Games, was actually in America at Lexington in 2010. So
that was a pretty magical one too. That was a pretty good game.
Well, it was the first time I'd been to Kentucky, first time I'd been to anything like WEG. So I was just blown away by the whole thing. And even though I'm primarily an eventing fan, I got hooked up in the whole total spectacle with the dressage and got hooked on the jumping as well. So the whole thing was pretty special. Now
this has become your passion now to travel around the world doing these things.
Yeah, absolutely. So I retired in my late 40s, and one of the main reasons for doing so was to free up time to travel more. I thought I might as well be doing my travelling in my 50s as I am now and shortly my 60s, while I'm able to walk cross-country courses rapidly and all that sort of stuff. So, it's been fantastic for me. So I've done a couple of Olympics. This is my fourth World Equestrian Games, or World Championships as it now is. I've done all 7 of the 5 stars, including obviously Maryland and Lexington in the US. And the Aussie one, Adelaide, is easy for me because I still live in Australia. But no, I've done Badminton and Burley maybe 4 or 5 times each. And Luhmühlen and Po. Po I've only done the once, but Luhmühlen I've done 4 or 5 times, not just for their 5-star, but also for their Europeans. So
I got to tell you, you're living everybody's dream. Retire early and travel the world watching cool horse stuff.
Get on with it, guys. Nothing to stop you. People are amazed, and I just sort of thought, you just got to start somewhere. And I mean, Samantha will tell you I'm renowned for doing things on the cheap. It doesn't have to be expensive.
She did say you slept in your car at a few of them, so she mentioned that.
Not so much my car, but at badminton in particular, because getting in on the Saturday morning is just a nightmare for cross country. When they cap the crowd at 175,000, and it's just a private estate at the end of a whole lot of little lanes. So getting that sort of crowd into the venue is a nightmare. But they have a fantastic camping setup, and the Brits are obviously very respectful and quiet, and the camping is very easy. And so, the cheapest way to do it, I found, was just to hire a little delivery van, go to a sort of bulky goods. I mean, I guess your equivalent of Walmart, buy a blow-up mattress, duvet, a couple of pillows and a towel, and live in that for 4 days. They've got showers, they've got, good facilities there, and the atmosphere at the camping is absolutely fantastic, and, you're 10 minutes off-site, so it's brilliant.
Well, let's switch gears and talk about Aachen. I have seen so many of my friends that are there posting, and they, to the person, have said what a magical feeling and how really cool the crowd and atmosphere is. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, Aachen, so for those of your listeners who don't know, Aachen hosts an event called CHIO, CHIO, every year in June. And it's really in a lot of ways, it's the most special event of the year. The crowd here is phenomenally knowledgeable. And so they're, breathing with every rider, exhaling over every jump. It's really very exciting. The main stadium seats just on 40,000 people. It's always chock-a-block. Just ignoring eventing for a second, I was at the freestyle of the dressage last night. They sold an extra 4,500 standing room spaces. So there were close to 45,000 people watching dressage, and the silence was extraordinary until suddenly everyone realizes, hey, we're allowed to clap rhythmically as the Germans love to do. And so for the last maybe 30 seconds of each routine, you get this phenomenal sound with 45,000 people clapping in time with some piaffe or passage down the centre line,
Huh. So let's start with cross country. What was your feeling about cross country day and the course and how tough it was and all that?
Yeah, I was pleased with the test. Often I walk tests and I find them a bit soft. But again, I've been to Aachen 4 or 5 times for the 4-star short event. This obviously it's not a 5-star, but it's a sort of 4.5-ish type star, and it's a longer course than the 4-star. So it was 9 minutes 50 was the the time allowed. And they did Giuseppe Della Chiesa, the course designer, did a really super job of taking advantage of every little mound and valley or anything else just to try and add some three-dimensional test to the course. It walked as if it was going to be tough, and I think in the end six riders got home under time, and a lot didn't. And there was obviously lots of retirements and eliminations and things as well. There were 2 retirements, 18 eliminations, so 65 got home, of which,
and that's pretty normal,
6
actually, that for that level. That's fairly normal. would say.
Yeah, exactly. Having said that, there were some who were, I think the slowest was 2 minutes 50 over time, and that was without a single 20. So he didn't have to circle or anything at all. Just was, I mean, one of the advantages, part of what's appealing about the World Equestrian Games or the World Championships, a bit like the Olympics, is that the whole event has to cater for the less familiar, less experienced riders and horses, those who would never, try a 5-star. And so it makes for, a really diverse field, and therefore the course designer has to be very careful to make sure there's lots of options so that even those less experienced horse and rider combinations have got a pretty good chance of getting home. So even if it takes forever.
When I've been to multiple events and watched cross country, there's always a horse that stands out, and you go, "Okay, now that one's pretty cool." Was there one? And I know you've seen all these horses before, but was there one on that day that stood out to you and went, "Okay, he's got it, she's got it"?
It was really a day where the cream rose to the top, and that's what you want with the World Championships. Michael Jung's Fisher Chipmunk, FRH, and Ros Cantor's Lordship's Gruffalo, Walter, as everyone knows him. Just, they were two of the last to go, and they just suddenly made it look easy. You wonder why everyone else had struggled for the previous 4 or 5 hours. But just the relationship that the rider has with the horse, and just the confidence and the bravery that the horse exhibits. Those two in particular just shone. A London 52 for Laura Collette, very experienced, been around 4- and 5-star tracks for a long time now. Again, looked very comfortable. Zaragoza for Gaspar Maxud was another one who, she's a very experienced mare, and she just looked comfortable. They just don't look as if it's a risk, whereas there's others you're gasping a touch as they approach some of the more difficult combinations. But you can just relax and enjoy it, which just makes life a lot easier as a spectator.
Are you one of those that stays at one jump, or do you walk?
I walk, but when I walk the course previously, I try and walk a course at least twice. Part of doing that is to try and suss out where on the course I want to be. And obviously, you want to see as many of the more complicated combinations as you can, but you're also trying to find somewhere maybe you've got access to a big screen or at least a scoreboard. I've got a few tricks. I tend to look for where they've put the cameras, because the TV cameras are often designed to, watch at least half a dozen combinations or half a dozen obstacles at the same time and things like that. So, I had 2 main points that I had identified that I wanted to watch from, but it was stinking hot. In Fahrenheit, it would have been up over 100 degrees, and I don't know what the humidity was, but it was properly hot. And so by about 3/4 of the way through, I was happy to just sit on the grass, watch a big screen. I could see the start and the finish. And by then I knew the course very well, which obstacles were likely to pose challenges. And also I'm fairly familiar with some of the horses. So, the ones who are long striding, who might struggle at one particular obstacle, or those who are a little bit ditchy, who might struggle at a coffin or things like that. So, with a bit of knowledge, you can sort of get a bit more out of it, even just on a big screen.
So let's switch to today. We're recording this on Sunday, and it's just finished. The whole thing is just finished. You're calling me basically from your hotel at this point. I had to really dig to find the results, but it looked like going into show jumping that there wasn't a whole lot of room with the leaders there, was there? Between each other?
Absolutely. It was very tight. Because so few horse and rider combinations got home in time yesterday, the results didn't spread out over cross country the way they sometimes do. And I mentioned that the elite rose to the top of the pile yesterday, and they absolutely did so again today. But, Michael Jung hung on for gold, but he didn't have a rail in hand, and he didn't even have a second in hand, and lots and lots of horses were going over time on the jumping today. I don't have that figure, but probably of the 60-odd we saw today, I'd guess that maybe 15 max came home under time. So it was a very tight time to achieve in the show jumping, which is good. It's called 3-day event for a reason, not 2.5.
So Michael Jung, we've all seen him compete and win numerous times, right? And then it was Rosalind Cantor from Great Britain, and then Laura Collette from Great Britain. And that's how it ended up, 1, 2, 3 there. So the German crowd must have went insane. Just with
Absolutely, and everyone else does too. I mean, there's no doubt that Mickey is phenomenal for the sport, even though he divides his time between eventing and pure jumping. He has been the leader of late. He missed out on this World Championships 4 years ago by hitting the very last rail on the very last fence. And even if you're a proud Brit, I think you possibly felt a bit sorry for him then. He's obviously won 2 Olympic golds as well with this horse. So these results are actually very similar to Paris. German individual gold and Britain team gold. So with the same 3, right? Well, the Olympics only has 3 riders in the team, whereas we had 4 here. But those 3 who represented Britain in Paris were the 3 who had the counting scores today as well. So, and
of course, Great Britain taking the gold, Germany, and then and then the United States, because that was also a change. They were 5 going into jumping today, and then the United States took bronze.
Yeah, well, the French, one of the riders didn't present at the trot up this morning, so that meant that the French were out of the contest in terms of the team event, which was a bit, disappointing, obviously, for them and a bit of a surprise. And yeah, I mean, us Aussies, we're taking credit for the United States team. I mean, of the 3 that scored, 2 of them Australian riders, and the other one was on an Australian horse. So I think you can thank us. Thanks very much.
But they all left Australia. I mean, I got to point that out, right?
Yeah, and despite that, they're still doing okay,
That's funny. So I must have been Kira pin drop when Mikkel Young went today. It just
it's funny because trying to hear it was probably about 30,000, I reckon, today. 30,000 people being quiet, is particularly when, they're brushing rails and everyone oohs and ahs, and then the people shush the people who are oohing and ahhing, and then people are shushing the shushers. And, I mean, all in 92 seconds. But, yeah, it was, I mean, the heart rates were absolutely up, particularly given that, as I said, time had been quite influential. And Lordship's Gruffalo, who was the second last to go, he's known for being slow-ish. But normally Ros has plenty of time up her sleeve, so she doesn't have to push for time. Today, not only did she go clear to keep the pressure on, but she also, she went clear for rails, back clear under time as well. So it certainly put the pressure on for Mickey Young. So good on him for coming good.
And an amazing horse, too. I mean, that Chipmunk's just an amazing horse. I mean,
without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, I always give Julia Krajewski quite a lot of the credit because she was the rider, the German rider who found him and worked on him for years.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael, for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll have you back for something else here coming up.
Yep, not at all. Happy to. Well, I mean, Alex Lacour, who is designing the Olympic course for you in LA, his home event, Schoon Palace, is in a couple of weeks in Scotland. I'll be there. And then Burley, the big 5-star up in the north of the UK, is the following week. I'll be there as well. So happy to chat if you have the time and interest.
Well, have a fantastic vacation. Purina Animal Nutrition understands that there's something special about the bond formed without words. It's a connection built in the little moments that you and your horse spend together. It comes from the time in the saddle, on the road, and around the barn. That bond is why you do everything you can for them, because they do so much for you. Here at Purina, we know because we felt it too. For more than 130 years, our team has crafted feeds we're proud to stand behind and give to our own horses. Because just like you, we're animal people.
Well, right after the excitement of the Mongol Derby, our next guest fits right in. Returning to the show is Nancy Pfeiffer, author of Riding into the Heart of Patagonia. Nancy, thanks for coming back.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great.
Yeah. So your book, Riding into the Heart of Patagonia, came out in 2018. You've got a second edition that just came out. My number one question, though, is where is Patagonia?
Patagonia is a place. It's not actually a country. It's at the southern tip of South America. I was entirely in Chilean Patagonia, but there's also an Argentinian Patagonia down at the southern tip as well.
Very cool. And so you live in Alaska now?
Yes.
And so what is the attraction?
Okay, wait a minute. Before you go on, I'm just thinking she lives at the very top of the world and Patagonia is at the very bottom of the world.
Yes, yes, exactly. Exactly. What's the attraction to that?
I say the binding attraction is wild places, open country, wilderness. And that's a lot of times where you're going to find that. I first went to Patagonia as about a 30-year-old NOLS instructor leading mountaineering trips down there. And that's where I ran into the horse culture that I fell in love with.
Oh, wow. So remind everybody what the book initially is about, the riding into the heart of Patagonia.
On the surface, it's my story of about 10 years of my 20 years of horsepacking through the wild places of Patagonia. It starts with a 30-year-old Knowles instructor stuck with her students on the wrong side of the river when a local, rides in on a horse. And he takes one look at us and he says, "Por qué no tienes caballos? Why don't we have horses?" And he rides across the river. And at that moment, I knew I wanted to travel the country like the people that live there.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
there was also a 13-year-old girl inside of me who desperately wanted a horse.
So you wrote the story basically of your journey riding through Patagonia. What's different in the new book, the second printing?
Well, probably one of the biggest things is it has maps. The first book I felt always was lacking good maps. So, I described these routes and people didn't really know where they were.
Okay.
So the second edition has got good maps, and it's also it's got an updated afterword, which talks about all the changes that have happened in Patagonia since the first book came out.
And so what are some of those changes?
I mean, I saw a lot of them in progress while I was there. I mean, it took 10 years. Well, the stories in the book took 10 years, and I probably spent another 10 years riding around down there on horseback. And I saw it change from a horse culture to an automobile culture. I saw
Really?
television. I saw the coming of the concept of private property. So, all of these things have come their way. And in the afterword, I talk a lot about which ones of my routes are still open. Some of them have had roads come into where the horse trail used to be. Some of them have been closed to private property. And some of them are still open. And, there is still a lingering horse culture of people who, take their kids to school on horseback and go to town to get groceries on horseback and visit their neighbors on horseback. And that's the culture I fell in love with.
Well, and I think it's so interesting because when you're talking about horse trails, you rode thousands of miles, and not that each trail was thousands of miles long, but you rode thousands of miles through some pretty wild country, and to see that change
Very
must
wild.
be heartbreaking.
It is. I mean, I saw it coming. It's happening all over the world. It's the population of the planet has doubled in my lifetime. But yet, there's still some of these old guys still living out in the middle of nowhere out there. And that's the people I wanted to talk to. Yeah.
So Patagonia was a lot like Mongolia, where it was just open, like that whole private property thing. Mongolia, the horses are just running, and they go out and gather the horses wherever they are. Right? It was a similar way. Patagonia.
There were fences in Patagonia when I started riding there, and there's still plenty of fences there now. But all of those fences had a gate, and it was fine to open the gate and pass through and stop and have mate with the people who lived there. So there wasn't, this sense of don't come on my property. And the horse trails were the roads. They were what connected farm to farm, valley to valley. So at one point, the government actually helped paid people who lived out there to help maintain the horse trails, because that was the highway.
Wow. But it sounds like the people, for the most part, were welcoming to you. Is that right?
Unbelievably. Like,
wow.
The people, they took me in. I was a novice horse person with minimal Spanish when this whole thing started. And the people took me in and they taught me what I needed to know. And then in the very end of the story, there was a big change coming down on Patagonia. Multinational companies wanted to dam their largest river and run a power line the length of Patagonia all the way up to Santiago. And that would have incredibly changed this country. Like every aluminum smelter would have wanted to move in there for cheap electricity. And the people of Patagonia, they adamantly didn't want this. And they organized a cabalgata, a horseback ride in protest. And I got to go on that ride.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Was that?
Yeah, so 30 of us started in Cochrane. And we rode 330 kilometers to the capital of Coyhaique, and we marched into the capital as 125 people on horseback. And when I got to go on that, it just like, I felt like I have to tell this story. I don't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. And so, so the horses there, tell us a little bit about what kind of horses are there.
They're small, they're stocky, they're tough as nails. There's not like a particular Patagonian breed, but yeah, they're incredibly tough mountain horses.
And are they well trained?
That's all over the board, like everywhere.
Like in America.
But one thing that I felt was amazing about my experiences there was that people took care of me. Like, they would not sell me a horse that would hurt me. They might sell me an infertile mare with bad knees.
Right.
They would not sell
Same
me.
as here.
They would not sell me a horse that would hurt me. And at one point, I bought a horse, and I felt like the horse hadn't been ridden in a couple of years and was pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I was a little hesitant to buy the horse. And the person who was selling it to me was like, take him out on the trail for a couple of days. If you don't like him, bring him back, no problem. I actually left that guy's farm with his horse, his saddle, and his bridle, and no money had been exchanged.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
very trusting.
The horse turned out amazing. And I ended up keeping that horse for 20 years.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So did you ever feel like I'm pretty adventurous, but I think I would have been terrified to do something like that. Did you ever feel threatened or scared on this big adventure?
None of the people. I was definitely scared to death of some of the rivers I crossed. I was scared to death of some of the mud hole situations I got into. But yeah, I could say as a single woman traveling around Patagonia, I was never frightened. And people would tell me things like, don't worry, there's no bad people here.
Did Patagonia have the kind of winters that you do in Alaska, or is it not as bad?
I would say rainier. So the latitude I was at was probably about like southern Canada.
Okay. So some snow, but not like you guys get.
Yeah, there's definitely snow and all, up in the mountains. It rains quite a bit in the valleys. It can be pretty miserable weather. And there is, it's a long, skinny mountain range. And on the eastern side is the pampas that run out into Argentina, and it's almost desert-like. And then there's this band of good grasslands. It's a grazing land. And then there is temperate rainforest or jungle. And I wandered between all three of those, although I did try and stay as much as I could in that central good grazing land area.
Were you in tenting at that time? Were you camping out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you actually ride through the rainforest?
I did one trip way out west into the rainforest. Yeah. And it was wet. That's where I came across the pretty terrifying mud hole. And
so quicksand is a thing. You found it.
It wasn't quicksand. It was just the trail had eroded to the point it was just a mud wallow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting because when we went to Alaska this year, we actually went to the one forest that has the quote unquote quicksand, and she demonstrated it with a log that she dropped in there. And I was like, wow, those Roadrunner cartoons are true. There is quicksand, and it's in Alaska.
There is. Yeah. Where were you?
We were just down by Anchorage somewhere. I don't remember. Where we were at this.
You may have been on Turnagain Arm. Yeah.
It was crazy. It was nuts. It was like, if we step off this path, they'll never get us out.
That's a little terrifying.
Yeah, it was actually. But I didn't know it was real. I always thought it was just Roadrunner. That's what I thought, but
yeah. So how long did it take you? You went on this amazing adventure and knew you had to write about it. How long did it take you to actually write your story?
I think the book came out 10 years after the Cabalgata, which was the protest ride against the dams.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, standing in the plaza with 125 people on horseback was the moment that I was like, I have to tell this story. And all of my friends wanted me to tell the story, all of my Patagonian friends. Mm-hmm. And I would say it took me 10 years, pretty much exactly till the book came out. And then now there's been another 8 since then. I'm hoping to go back to Patagonia this winter. It's been a while.
So winter here is summer there.
Winter here is summer there.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, I hope to redo the leg of the journey between Cochrane and O'Higgins.
Wow. So
I just wanted to ask quick, did they build the dams?
They did not.
Yay. Okay. So you won.
No,
it's awesome.
It is an incredible story. You know, the protest ride was not the end of it. It was the beginning of it. But at one point they had a development president who tried to okay it, and hundreds of thousands of people protested in the streets of Santiago. And eventually they had actually the same president that they had when the cabalgata took place. And she finally said, no, we're not going to do this to this part of the world. And then years later, I was having a discussion with one of the heads of the local environmental group. And he said that the biggest thing that came out of the cabalgata wasn't even stopping the dams. It was that the people there now feel like they have kind of sovereignty over their own lives, which I think is huge.
Yeah, it sounds like they really kind of united around this cause, and that probably changed a lot of things.
Yeah, and now the area has, you know, it had no economy, but it's gone a little bit into the tourist economy now, and I don't think it's going back. I think that people, they know what they have, and they know how precious that is in the world. And I think it's actually an environmental issue that's actually been won.
So when you go back, will you tell a new story? Another story?
Well, I don't see myself writing another book on this. I don't know exactly who I'll end up talking to about, you know, my journey this next time. But I think, you know, like I said, I wrote another 10 years after the cabalgata happened, but I feel like that's the story that life made me tell.
Right. Right. Now, do you have horses in Alaska?
I don't, but I have friends who have horses.
That's even better. You don't have to pay for them that way.
And that's a wonderful thing. I have people who let me continue to have horses in my life.
Go. That's better. Yeah. That's the way to go.
Well, I grew up in Minnesota, and I just know how awful winters are in Minnesota with horses. I can only imagine in Alaska. So good for you.
Yeah, it's a tough place for horses, and there's definitely people who do it, but it takes a lot of setup.
Yeah.
Well, Nancy, where can people buy the second edition?
Almost anywhere. You know, yes, it's on Amazon, but it's also, there's Bookshop, which is a local, you can order it on Bookshop online and pick it up at your local bookstore. It's at Barnes & Noble. It's through my publisher, which is Bedazzled Ink. And they do an ebook that's really quite inexpensive through Bedazzled Ink.
Good.
I will put the link to I can't say that word, Bedazzled Ink. I will put a link to that in our show notes as well. And Nancy, thank you so much for coming back. And I hope you do get back there this year. That'd be so much fun for you.
Yeah, I'm hoping on it too.
Even under the best circumstances, travel is stressful for horses. We've all been there, stuck on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. You can make the journey knowing that US Rider is there for you. Get peace of mind on the road with US Rider's nationwide 24/7 roadside assistance coverage for both you and your horse. Join today at usrider.org.
Time for this day in equine history, and because Jamie isn't here, I get to go way back in time. She hates when I do this, Lisa.
I love it.
I know. So we're going back to 1227.
Woo!
Genghis Khan died during a battle that day, or this day in 1227. And of course, I'm bringing that up because he revolutionized how light horse cavalry worked on the battlefield. We all know how tough the Mongol ponies are. We just watched the Mongol Derby, right?
Yep.
And those are descendants of the ponies of Genghis Khan. They're the ones he used, and they were small little ponies, so they weren't war horses in the European sense, carrying knights with armor,
Yeah.
they had to adapt. So what they did is they basically made these light cavalry units, and they learned how to shoot bow and arrow very well off a running horse. So that started with Genghis Khan too. So the archery units of his cavalry were the most effective because they could come in really fast and then they could, disappear really fast. They could do hit and runs. And what happened was each Mongol rider or soldier maintained a string of 3 to 5 ponies, and they rotated mounts during a march. So their army units could cover 60 to 100 miles in a single day because they were able to ride. And of course, we all know that from watching the Mongol Derby, that their ponies love to go fast for long periods of time. And apparently they were still semi-feral like they are today. But what happened was they were the fastest moving armies. So they could get from point A to point B much, much faster than other armies could. So that allowed them to attack before they were expected or before the defenders had time to even build the defenses. So that's why they were so effective and why he took over, 3/4 of Europe.
Well, and you have to think that the bigger drafty type horses that the European people were using were much slower, and they couldn't,
These guys were, dash in, shoot my arrows, dash out. Kind of thing. They were masters at it, and he's really the one that invented the light cavalry. So that's
Did
why
not know
Genghis
that.
Khan is in the history today. Well, on this day in 1912 at the Stockholm Olympics, Sweden claimed the inaugural gold medal in team show jumping. Now, what's interesting about that, it was the first time that team scores and team medals were awarded was in 1912. Everything before that was individuals. They didn't have country teams. Before that, it was just individual scores. So, and pretty much today, we use the standard that they set in 1912 at the Olympics. The whole, for compete and drop one, all of that stuff started way back when. So
I wonder who came up with that. It was a great idea.
I don't know who came up with it. I didn't dig that deep, but it did start, and Sweden was the first one to take gold. And then on August the 13th in 1919, one of the biggest shocks and ironies in racing history happened. A horse named Upset defeated the legendary Man of War by a neck at the Sanford Memorial Stakes in Saratoga. It was the only loss of Man of War's 21 race career. And of course, his name was Upset. So that,
of course, yes.
Irony. Just 10 days after that, Upset faced Man of War again in the Grand Union Hotel Stakes. This time, Man of War won easily, and with Upset finishing second. The two met a total of 6 times in their career. Man of War beat him 5 of those times. And Upset finished second the rest of the time.
And we all know Man of War, but how many people know Upset, who obviously was a good racehorse?
Apparently he did very well, and he went on to stud and did very well. He produced some really winning offspring too. But you know what? He probably would have been the one we remember had he not been at the same time as Man of War, right?
Exactly.
So.
We've talked on the show a lot about my mom, who's passed, but her love of horse racing. Well, she actually got that from my grandmother. Oh. My grandmother actually saw Man of War and Seabiscuit run. Yes.
No.
Yes. I remember being really little and watching the Kentucky Derby, and my grandmother always saying, well, they're not Man of War. They're not Seabiscuit. And she just always maintained that those were the 2 best racehorses in the entire history of the world. And then Secretariat came along and she added him. So those 3.
Well, she's probably not wrong.
Probably not. Yeah, but she talked a lot about how unattractive Seabiscuit was in person.
Oh.
That he just didn't look like he was put together, like he was made up of different parts. And what a big stride that Man of War had.
Huh, that's crazy that she actually saw him.
Yeah, I know.
Huh, interesting. I was trying to think if I ever in person saw any. No, we always went to like Penn National and the smaller tracks, so I don't think I ever saw any celebrity horses.
Yeah,
but you don't have that gene. It didn't pass down to you.
I like horse racing, but not like I really enjoy, getting to know the horse and communicating with the horse and learning, herd behavior and all of that. That's kind of my passion.
So you're not sitting at the track every weekend like your mom?
No. No. Although I did go last month when I was there. I did go and spent an afternoon there.
You saw our old friends?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. That was.
Is there a track in Tennessee?
No. Well, no. We have one just across the border in Kentucky.
Right.
But, Tennessee has kind of outlawed any kind of gambling or,
You don't have casinos either in Tennessee? You think that's one state with Nashville that would have casinos? Do
you know what? And I could be wrong. It could have just recently have changed. But do you know what has been outlawed for decades is church bingo?
Really?
Yes.
What do the Catholics do to raise money in Tennessee?
I know.
Hey, I say that as a Catholic whose
I know.
church had bingo.
And so when I moved here, it's been a long time ago. I moved here, and I didn't know a lot of people. And my mom said, "Well, just go to church bingo night. You'll meet a lot of people." And I'm like, "Mom, it's illegal here." And she said, "What kind of help have you moved to?"
All other kinds of debauchery are allowed in Tennessee, but not racing or bingo.
No.
I mean, have they been to Nashville?
I know, right?
Oh my God. My parents actually were good Catholics, and they worked bingo. They were the callers and worked there at the bingo.
Oh, wow.
For years, they would go every week, and I think it was Thursday night to bingo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. When I was growing up, it was Tuesday night. I used to go with my grandmother sometimes.
Yeah, it's changed now. It's all sophisticated now. They have little markers. And,
I know. It's not as fun.
No, it's no more little, you take your quarters out and put them on the bingo card. None of that anymore.
Yeah.
It's all different. All right, auditors, hang on. We're going to talk about something in the post show. Thank you all for joining us. Jamie will be back on Wednesday. We have a quarter horse episode for you tomorrow, Equine Affair later in the week. So Jamie will be here hopefully for Wednesday and Friday, and we can just have a couple of shows. It's been a while since she's been gone. So we'll look forward to having her back. Lisa, thank you for filling in. Where can people find your books and all the things about you?
Oh, yeah, just LisaWysocki.com, Amazon, just anywhere books are sold.
And Colby's Army, of course, is where she lives and the therapeutic riding program that you have there and everything.
Yep, colbysarmy.org.
Very good. Thank you all for joining us. Appreciate it. And hang on, auditors.